This cake is actually a great breakfast with over 90 grams of protein, and on top of that it's super easy to make. Here's how you make it. To start, you need a big bowl, put it on a scale and add in 120 grams of oat flour. You don't need to buy oat flour, you can simply put rolled oats into a blender in a scale, add in 120 grams and blend it for about 1 minute on high until the oats turn into a fine powder. This is a lot cheaper than buying oat flour. Alternatively, you can also use regular all-purpose flour. The calories will remain the same, however the cake won't have the nutty flavor that it gets from the oats. Next, add 2 scoops or 60 grams of vanilla protein powder. In my experience, the best way to bake with protein powder is to use a 50-50 blend of casein and whey. Casein doesn't rise very well but makes the cake more moist, while whey protein helps the cake rise properly so it looks like a regular cake. If you only have access to whey protein powder, that is fine, but then you need to bake the cake for a shorter period of time or it will become dry. Next is the sweetener, and I like to use erythritol. It doesn't have the weird aftertaste that stevia has. 30 grams go into the bowl. Next is the added flavor, and I will go with a teaspoon of ginger. You can also use a teaspoon of cinnamon, both taste incredible in this recipe. Next is half a teaspoon of baking powder, a quarter teaspoon of baking soda, and lastly a small pinch of salt. Give this a stir before prepping the wet ingredients, but don't add them in yet, I will show you why in a second. I will go with 1 whole egg and 100 grams of pure egg whites for more protein and fewer calories. However, if you don't want the egg whites, you can also add 3 whole eggs if you like. It will make the cake even creamier but also add about 110 extra calories, so keep this in mind. The next food to prepare is a medium-sized sweet apple. I will peel the apple, you can also leave the skin on, that is up to you. This apple had some weird brown spots, so I decided to peel it. Then cut the apple into 4 pieces and remove the core before adding it to the blender. Try to buy an apple that weighs around 100 to 130 grams, that is a good size for this. Next is cottage cheese. This particular one has 1% fat and is an exceptional protein source. It has 14 grams of protein in 65 calories, which is pretty much the same calorie to protein ratio as protein powder. Add 100 grams to the blender and then blend on high for about 1 minute until you get a smooth and creamy consistency. Hi, I want to talk about something that is very important to me and the sponsor of today's video. If you think you might be feeling depressed, stressed, anxious or overwhelmed, BetterHelp is here to help you. I personally studied information technology on the weekends for 4 years straight while having a full-time job, and that was very stressful. Managing family, friends, work and studying all at once was very hard, and I wish I would have known about BetterHelp back then. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist is not the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist that is custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Felu, and I've also linked them below in the description. So, before combining the ingredients, first preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 F and then take out a baking dish. This one has 22 x 9 centimeters or 3 x 9 inches and place parchment paper in it. Here's a small hack. If you crumple the parchment paper into a ball, it will be much easier to place it into any form that you have. After the baking dish is prepared, you can add all the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. So crack in the whole egg, add the egg whites and then the cottage cheese with apples and give everything a stir. If the batter is dry at this point, you can add a small splash of water, a couple of tablespoons, and keep mixing until you have a smooth consistency. The reason we combined wet and dry at the very end is baking soda. As you can see here, the baking soda will immediately start reacting and create bubbles as soon as you add an acid. These bubbles will help rise the cake, but if you wait too long before placing it into the oven, the entire reaction will be gone. It's not that big of a deal because baking powder is double reacting, but it will help making a proper looking cake. So bake this now for about 20 to 25 minutes before you check if it's ready. The best way to check if a cake is done is by using a food thermometer. If the cake is above 90 degrees Celsius or 200 F, it is done. So remove it from the baking dish and let it cool down for 15 minutes. Now you can slice the cake into 3 thick slices to have 1 piece every morning for breakfast or a snack. You can eyeball the size of every piece, and it really doesn't matter if they have the same weight. In the end, the macros will even out anyway. Place them into an airtight container. This is my meal prep bowl, and store them in the fridge for 3 to 4 days. In the morning, I also like to add about 100 grams of Greek yogurt or skyr as a kind of a dipping sauce, and there you go, a cake that is also an incredible breakfast. The entire cake comes in at 914 calories, 92 grams of carbs, 18 grams of fat, and 93 grams of protein. If you like this recipe, you need to check out my cookbook. It is packed with great recipes that will help you lose weight without you even thinking about being on a diet. Breakfast, lunch or dessert, everything you need is in this book. And the best part is that I'm constantly updating the book with new recipes, and you will receive every recipe update for free once you've purchased the book. It sits at 4.9 out of 5-star rating, so click the link in the description, you won't regret it.